Okay, here we go. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are looking at this like, what the hell is this? What does this have to do with Nitrox, an esports team? But it actually has a lot to do with it. If you guys didn't know, Nitrox does its own in-house graphics done by me option. And this is actually something that I use quite often to do it, and that is C4D. And I have been getting some questions and some comments here and there asking me how I do some of these things. And I figured I'd mix the two together today, talking about the updates with the gaming side of Nitrox, and go ahead and just mess around in C4D. You guys get to watch me do some of these things, watch me model, see how my modeling process goes, and see how my layout workflow works. Nitrox and motion design and graphic design, those are some of my biggest passions of all time. So I figured I'd mix the two together and see how that goes. I don't know if this is going to I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll see. People are interested in it and they like watching me do things as I go and listening to my disgusting voice, and we'll keep doing it. But anyways, so let's go ahead and get into it. And I'm just going to go ahead and make some like abstract stuff. Let's see. We're going to start with a dodecahedron. Yeah, actually, what am I doing? We'll do Icosa. We'll mess around with some shapes and just do some abstract things as I go. So, in terms of Nitrox and how things have been going with that, we have been doing fantastic. We have some very talented players in our R6 teams now, as well as we just started our Overwatch division, and that's going pretty good. And then we also have our Rocket League team, who has always been doing fantastic. I couldn't be prouder of our Rocket League team. By the way, you can't like mess around in C4D and all that good stuff without having Coffee. Coffee is a motion designer, or anybody who does heavy G effects or anything like that. It's always going to be your best friend. But yeah, no, everything's been going great. Some people have been wondering if on the channel if things have died off, and that's why I haven't really been putting out any updates. No, it's not that. I just have been very busy, as you typically do as you typically get pretty busy when things start to go your way. And it's just been hectic. So let's see, for some reason my camera tilted. I don't know how to fix that. That's the only thing I have never learned how to fix. I don't remember if it's this. Actually, I know what to do. I'm just gonna start over. Easy mode. We were doing I think we just stuck with the icosahedron, so we're just gonna do that all over again. But yeah, no, everything's been going great. Our Rainbow Six teams are doing a lot of these leagues like ESEA, or not ESEA, ESA. They're doing IEG, WAS, and stuff like that. Just getting a feel for a more competitive experience and stuff like that, and they're doing quite well actually. Our EU Rainbow Six team is doing fantastic. I couldn't be more proud of the things that they're doing. They are dominating pretty much the competition. Their standings, some of their standings, like for IEG and stuff, I know that whenever they went into IEG, they took the place of another team that couldn't play or something like that, so they did inherit some losses, but that's okay. They're making do with that, and they're doing just fine. As well as they just made some roster changes and stuff like that. But other than that, I think that they're doing a fantastic job. Our North American team, I think it's in 2 days they do the open qualifiers for the R6 Nationals, or R6 North American Nationals. And I can't wait to see how well they do. That's going to be fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's been going on. Is our Rocket League team is still going at it like they always do. They're doing really well. They just started taking ESL Go 4s a little more seriously on you know, a weekly basis. Having those weekly competitions are important to, you know, keep yourself busy and stuff like that, so you're not, you know, not getting bored or anything like that. As well as they're keeping an eye out, and I'm keeping an eye out for some of the Face-It competitions that Face-It's been having that are pretty big for Rocket League as of late. Rocket League has really been growing as an esport, and it's pretty cool. I like watching things like this grow, and then watching how my teams are growing with it. It's an awesome experience. But other than that, you know, things have just been, we've all been on the same old grind. Nitrox is continuously growing, and always looking to expand and stuff like that, so we may have some other teams joining us very soon, which is always exciting. I always like adding new people to the organization, seeing what they have to offer and bring to the table, as well as what I can do for them. So, you know, it's just a lot of big things have been happening, and it's been keeping me very busy. And since I'm the one who does the update videos and stuff like that, and nobody else, oh, I figured out how to fix the camera, haha. But it's just, I can't do all of it, and I've had to kind of step away from doing the YouTube stuff until I can find someone who'd be willing to do it for me, and stuff like that. And it's tough finding people who want to do that, mainly because if they are wanting to do it, there's a form of gain from it that we just don't provide just yet, and as well as they don't always do it the way that I would like, so it's just kind of tough. Let's see, how was I doing that before? I was doing the camera. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's a little tilted still. That's good enough. Let's see, I'm trying to think of where I want to go with this model, though, because right now I'm just playing around, you know, seeing what we can make out of this and whatnot. So I think I'm gonna bevel this out a little more, bring this in, bring it out, then we're gonna bevel these edges like so. Maybe we could have this like a reactor core. I know that last time I did something like this, I was kind of going in the same direction. I really like to just play around with these kinds of shapes and see what I can make out of them and stuff like that. So actually, let's see, what time is it? I've got time. Let's start over. Why don't we just build a like a tech kind of hallway scene? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start with the wall supports, which I'm gonna take this cube right here, bring it down. Probably make it more, don't know if I want it more flat or if I want it more elongated. How about something like that? And then I'm gonna go into this, I'm gonna go to segments, and then I'm gonna hit make editable, go to the polygon mode, and just kind of play with it. So how do I want to do this? Go ahead and select these. Go ahead and extrude those inner. Nah, I didn't do that right. Just do extrude, and then I'm gonna go to the lines of this, give them a little bit of a smooth edge, so that way it's not so jagged. I don't want everything to be rigid and stale. So for those of you who don't know anything about Cinema 4D and motion design and stuff like that, if you're wanting to get into motion design and graphic design, especially in a 3D sense, I highly recommend Cinema 4D and its Octane renderer. You're actually going to be seeing me use it here in a little bit. it just really, it really is such a versatile, you know, program and renderer. And the best thing about the Octane renderer is it is a GPU-based renderer. If you guys don't know what that basically, what renderers typically are, they're CPU-based. You have to have a really strong CPU, like the Arnold renderer, which is probably better for photorealism. It relies on your CPU, and Arnold can do just about everything. It's such a great renderer, but at the same time, it's so intensive, and you would have to have multiple different render nodes. You would have to have like multiple computers rendering one, you know, sequence. It's just so intensive. And if you're not patient, like how I'm not patient, you want to get something that's quick and still looks good. And Octane is such an awesome renderer. It really, really, really is. It does exactly what I need it to do with the speed that I want. And it's amazing. Now, the only thing about the Octane renderer is it only supports NVIDIA. So if you have a Mac or anything like that, sadly, you're probably not going to be able to use Octane. But nonetheless, it will, you know, you can still do some amazing things as long as you have, you know, an NVIDIA GPU. And like, in terms of how intensive it is, for my old graphics card, which was a 950, it could sort of handle that. It would take 2 minutes to render out. It would take 2 minutes to render out like a one frame. Think one frame with like really high settings. Which, if you didn't know and you're not into this kind of field, that's pretty quick. 2 minutes per frame. Now, obviously, for Octane, that is slow, but for most people, they're like 2 minutes for one frame. That's insane, because there are people who literally spend days rendering one scene. Let's see. I think that's a good start for pillars and a wall support. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and bring that back. I'm going to figure out how long or how wide we want our hallway to be. I'm thinking something like that. And then we're going to go here, use a symmetry. Something's not right. There we go. So we got that, and we're just going to go ahead, and what I can do is take this cube, or this wall support object that I made, and I'm going to figure out how long I want our hallway to be. If I look at Z, this one's going to be at 100. Oh, it's actually on the X, I forgot. 200. And I'm actually going to go ahead and give these a more exact length. And then I'm going to duplicate that. Just make that negative. That's why I always try to work with everything centered up. And then I'm going to do this. Alt-G it, which puts it into a null, which is my way of like pre-composing. I always think of it like a pre-composition in After Effects. I'm just going to call this wall support. And note, like, this is me just doing things quickly. I would never spend like 3 minutes on a wall support and put out something like this for somebody or for Nitrox. This is just me kind of messing around. And we're gonna go ahead and make the walls. And which I don't see many people do this, but for walls, I don't just add more shapes. Actually, I'm gonna bring. Where's the? I'm gonna bring this down a little more. There we go. I don't see a whole lot of people do this. I use loft NURBS for walls and stuff because to me it seems a lot quicker than trying to take shapes and make them exact and match up with everything, or as opposed to what I also see, which is people just make cubes and stuff like that. To me, this is a lot quicker. to make an exact wall to go with whatever shape you're using to support it. So if anybody was wondering how I would approach building a scene with a wall that matches exactly with its supports, well, this is it. And then it's that. Then I take this spline, and I'm going to, I think it was -200. I think I'll start with -200. Oh, I have it in the wrong spot. Actually, I'm gonna have to bring that up a little bit. We'll go with 230. And then I'm gonna duplicate that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make that positive. And then all you gotta do is add a loft. And then boom. Perfect roof and walls. Now the cool thing about loft is you can, change the subdivisions of it. If you want it to be kind of rigid how I want it, you want it with as many faces, or as like basically the amount of faces it takes to properly line everything up. So let's see, 5. I think I'm gonna stick with 16 though. 16 probably works the best. And then that's pretty much all I'm gonna do there. I'm gonna go ahead and make everything else 16 just so it's all uniform. And then you can take that same spline on or wherever you want the end of the hallway to be. Just Control-C, Control-V. Not subdivision, oops. And then you make an extrusion. Oh, I forgot, I gotta close the spline. Make sure you have a closed spline for an extrusion, so you just close it, and then boom. It's taken care of. Wall. As for the floor, this one I do separately. I just kind of, do that. And then that takes care of that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this loft that I made and I'm going to make that editable, and I'm gonna go to polygon, and you can see we have this nice little thing in the middle, and I'm going to do this. So extrude inner, I'm gonna have one large light in the middle, or one really long light in the middle, and I'll see how this is important in a little bit. So now that I've got my very basic bland scene, note this is, again, me just doing things quickly to show you. I'm going to go ahead and get my Octane layout started, which this is just a preset that I built for me to, with an optimized workflow so that I have everything I need all at once. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to my Octane objects, go to HDRI environment, and I'm going to be using a Video Copilot HDRI, which you can get from their website. All this stuff, whenever you go buy their plugins, is available to you in their documents and stuff. So I'm going to hit that, and then I'm going to go ahead and start the active renderer. I'm going to not use that one, it's too dark. But I don't want anything like office-y, so try that. Oh, I'm moving the Octane sky, not the plane. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like this for now. And then I'm going to create a material. And this is just going to be a diffuse material. And I'm going to make our light. So I'm going to go down to emission, C4D Octane after clicking the texture button. Black body emission. We're going to go with a absorption medium for the distribution, and we're going to do a RGB spectrum, and this will allow us to control the color of the light and stuff like that, because you can't do it from the standards, the standard layout right here. And for now, I'll go ahead and place that here. And I'm going to bring it down. I'm thinking I'm going to have to flip the normals. So let's see. I got to remember where flip normals is. I haven't had to do this in a while. Normal rotate. Don't remember how to rotate normals. Actually, I know what I can do to fix this already. Is I'll just redo it and then have the normals flipped from the NURB. And obviously we're going to be fixing that extrusion model later, but I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm just kind of going as I make this. Do this really roughly because I am running low on time. I really should schedule these out better. That way I'm not always in a rush, and then I'll go ahead and do another loft. And I think we had it set to 235. It was. Yeah. And negative 235. Boom. And then I gotta go to here. Flip normals. And I'm gonna just duplicate this just in case if I messed up. And we're gonna go with 1660. Oh, that's 616. Oops. 16. 16. Go ahead and delete that one. Make that editable. Go to polygon tool. There we go. See, now it's how it should be. But what did I have? Had everything set to 16. Let's see. How do we work around this 16? Let's try this and see if that helps. Definitely not. That's fine. We'll work with that. We'll go back to 16. 16. We'll make that editable again. We'll take this. And we're gonna do the same thing we just did earlier, and then place that there. Now obviously that is like way too bright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this, turn that down. It's about there. And then we're gonna go ahead and make a octane camera. And I like to just have this because I like the post-processing that Octane has. It allows you to play with like the bloom and the glare and stuff like that. You can control how many, glares there are. I normally go with 2, and then I blur out the glare a little bit, like that. And let's see, what we're gonna do is now we're just gonna add some like pipes and stuff and wires kind of going along. I don't know if I'm gonna have time for texturing though, so I think right now it's just gonna be a quick modeling thing. But how I normally do like pipes and stuff, like laying on the ground, and we're just gonna go ahead and turn that invisible, go ahead and get it out of that camera as well, and I'm gonna hit the pause button on that. So we have the most amount of speed. Is we'll start with a pipe or like a tube going along the ground, I'm gonna eventually have my camera positioned like right here or something. Let's see, something ain't right. There we go. And I'm just gonna go ahead and like, I'm probably gonna have my, like I said, my camera positioned somewhere along here. So I want like a tube or a pipe to be kind of going across the ground where you can see it. So I'm gonna do it from this side. I'm just gonna kind of draw how I want my tube on the ground, my loose little tube. And that's about where I'm gonna have it end. And then I'm gonna go back, have my dot selected. I'm gonna select all of these. And I'm gonna use the chamfer tool. I'm just gonna kind of bring that out because we want this to be kind of like a snake. I'm gonna bring that up. It's about there. And you can go about this one of two ways. You can do the standard like sweep NURB, which is done with 2 splines. And that's normally done like this, and then I'm going to bring this down to like 2, and then use a sweep NURB. And then you've got sort of like a tube. But I like to add detail to my tubes, and if you make this editable, you can see how many faces there are on this, and it makes it take so long to add detail. And I see a lot of people doing that, and I think, man, that is a lot of time wasted on that. So what I typically do is I make a cylinder. Note you want to know how long you want your cylinder to be. And I'm just going to go ahead and let that do this real quick. Pause, get out of the camera view, and I'm going to pre-compose or put all that into null, call this scene, turn it invisible. Now I've just got these, and I'm gonna make this tube like that. Even that's a little thick. They're like that big. Well, maybe I want it to be bigger too, because I have a plan in my head for it, so I'm gonna have it like that big. And rotation segments, that we're pretty much just gonna leave that alone, and we're gonna give this like 64 height segments. And I'm just gonna kind of, this is always gonna be a little tedious, but this makes it a lot easier than just, you know, going through like the hundreds, if not like at the thousands of faces that are on a sweep NURB to add detail. And then you also have to kind of calculate out how many faces you need to go in order for it to be symmetrical and all this mumbo jumbo that nobody really cares about. So let's see. And you're going to see why adding this detail that I'm doing now is going to affect like how this is going to look. And it's going to make it look pretty cool. I've done it before, and I've always thought it looked pretty cool. In fact, I'll probably bring up a few scenes that I've done using some of these techniques, and as well as some of the scenes I'm currently working on using Cinema 4D and Octane that are pretty sweet. And you'll see like how powerful this stuff is. Just kind of, I'm pretty sure I'm like close to the bottom, right? Oh, nope. I may not do all this then. I may just do some of it and then show you guys, show you guys from there. So I can do this quicker. Tag. Just really quickly. see, how many more do I need to go? I'm actually pretty close to done, so I think I'm just gonna finish it out. I've definitely shown this off before at some point, but it is just so neat, and I'm really glad that I figured out how to do it, that I can't help but use it every time I do something like this. Because there's a lot of people I know, especially including me back in the day, where like for some reason like pipes and tubes are so simple, but you don't know how to add the detail without screwing up the NURB or the model or the base mesh. It's always, it's like the thing that should be simple, but it's actually kind of annoying. But this always makes it look pretty nice, so especially for the look I'm going for, and that's pretty much all I need to do. I don't need to do the bottom one. We're going to extrude it a little bit, and we're going to bevel, and we're going to get a spline wrap. Actually, I think this is supposed to go below it, and then we're gonna have this as the spline. And you can see, you get that's actually kind of cool, but that's not what we're going for. We're going for that. There we go. And you can see why adding that would be cool, and it looks even better sometimes if you add a subdivision. And what you can do is, instead of maybe having it so elongated like that, you can just go strictly with a bevel, bring that up to a point like that, do the spline wrap again, and then it kind of looks like a weird kind of like tubing or something. This one I would definitely recommend using a subdivision surface NURB, which just kind of makes it seem like that. Now obviously you would want some textures that help, you know, accentuate the edges, maybe have some dust or dirt or scratching on it or something like that, that help it show that that is like an edge to it or something like that. And then we would just turn on our scene. And then we've got a tube going across the floor. That's just like, this isn't really meant to be like a full scene. I'm just kind of showing off some things, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and show off a few other things before I have to go. Just to show you like some of the stuff I'll be doing in the future. This was more of just me testing and messing around and doing things really quickly, but I do want to show you guys like some things that I really do, some things that I spend time on and stuff like that. So if I go to, where is it? I know I have a folder specifically for it, and it would be like a C4D Octane folder. Scenes, here we go. Like, here's one that I recently just started working on, and I've been spending maybe a day or two messing with it. So if I hit the render button and just let it do its thing, I'm kind of going for a warehouse slash like top of a storage section of a building or something like that. We've got like wires going along the top and a pipe that's kind of going around and stuff like that. And we've got lights. Obviously, there's still a lot that needs to be done to it, especially with like texturing and stuff like that. But you know, like this is all basic modeling and some stuff that I want to show off on the channel and mix it in with the gaming things as much as I can, because I've always had a passion for sharing my knowledge as well. Just because some people hold you to be good at it doesn't mean that you should keep it to yourself. And there's a lot of things that I kind of want to show off and do. So that's something that maybe you guys would be interested in. Obviously, this wasn't well put together, and I didn't really think or plan going into this, but the next one that I do, we'll definitely have some planning, and we'll have some actual, like, direction, as opposed to me just jumping in, like, messing around with stuff and then being like, oh, well, you could do this, you could do that. I will actually be doing some things and have a goal in mind for it, as opposed to me just, like I said, messing around. But hopefully this will be something that picks up traction. Hopefully this will be something that people will come to enjoy, because I really want to try it. I really want to do it and then mix updates in with it, because that way it ties what Nitrox is about and what's going on with Nitrox, as well as how we go about doing some of the artwork and stuff like that. And obviously I'll go into more details about different stages and stuff and where I'm exactly doing it maybe later down the line. But for now, I think that's pretty much where I'm going to leave off. I have to go. But hopefully this is something that people will find enjoyment out of it. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.